Hey everyone, and welcome to the Not a Blur e-commerce show. I'm Rock. I spent the last 20 years in e-commerce. I built two e-commerce businesses, 50 million per year, and I'm now building new e-commerce startups and also learning a bunch of really amazing new things from these really great people I'm interviewing. And today I have a really super cool special treat for you. I'm really excited to be talking with Peter, who is the head of acquisition at BirdBuddy, one of the most amazing new startups of the past few years. These guys have built a smart bird feeder that took Kickstarter by storm, raised more than 4 million, if I'm not mistaken, right? And
Yeah, just on Kickstarter.
just on Kickstarter. Oh, yeah, then there was Indiegogo as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How much did you sell there?
So another 5 million, somewhere around there.
Wow, nice. So 10 million before you even got the product out of your warehouse. That is nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And now also it seems that these guys, I mean, they're selling like such hotcakes that whenever they put the product on stock, they run out of it practically almost immediately, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We were actually fortunate to have it on stock, I think, for a month in the period between October and November. And then unfortunately we had to go back to pre-orders.
So I mean, I have to say that sounds really amazing. We were fortunate to have stock. That is beautiful. It's rare to be speaking with someone who's working on a product that just keeps flying off the shelf as soon as it gets back in. So, Peter, really good to have you here. Want to do maybe a super short intro of yourself before we get into the really fun questions?
Yeah, thanks, Rock, for giving me the opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it. So basically, I started in marketing about 6 years ago now. I'm a Studio Moderna alumni, which is a big e-commerce company here in Slovenia and throughout Europe. And then I got the opportunity to join BirdBuddy in 2021. Yeah. And since then we've been going, step by step on this ladder, towards becoming a really successful company.
Nice. So for me, BirdBuddy it's really one of the best examples of magical products that are just made for demand generation and selling through Facebook, maybe TikTok, and so on. So tell us, what's the real magic behind BirdBuddy? Why is it selling off the shelf? Why can't you keep it on stock? Why is it such an amazing product?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's just the innovation itself, right? So there simply wasn't a product like this before on the market. So I think I need to say huge kudos to our founders who had this vision and then actually the ability to execute and bring this product to life. Obviously, there was this niche of people which we feel that, I mean, we see in every day. We're getting kind of this disconnection with nature, right? So we're always on our mobile phones, checking notifications, and we rarely stop to see, oh, what a beautiful world we have around us. So I think we see BirdBuddy as this connection between this digital world of devices and the world of nature outside. And obviously, a lot of people find themselves in this niche.
It's,
And then,
it's crazy
yeah,
how many people are buying this. I mean, it's amazing.
yeah. I think it is as well. And then in a way, it's more than just a hardware product that you're thinking about. We try to really put a lot of educational content in our app, and we're looking for this. So I know how people usually say, each generation is more technologically advanced. So it's important actually to educate the young ones and give them an opportunity to see nature through the medium that they are most used to. So that is most natural to them, right? So obviously, I think babies in 20 years are going to be born with a phone in their hand. So why not push it there, right?
And your biggest market is the US, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's just, well, we're a US company, first of all. And when we started marketing, when we started selling, we found that US consumers are actually more receptive to innovations, to unproven companies, new, fresh companies like us. and they're more willing to invest in this innovation and back up and coming people, companies, etc. They're also more used to seeing successful Kickstarter projects. So I think even myself, before I joined BirdBuddy, I always thought, okay, there are nice things on Kickstarter, but I'm not really sure if they're going to work out, right? So it was really amazing for me to see that there's so many people who said, yeah, we really believe you guys can make it happen. And that actually gives you a lot of confidence. Yeah, of course we can make it happen. You guys backed us up. We're going to try everything we can. And then the second thing that I noticed as kind of a performance marketer, and with experience in selling in the EU, is that US is in a way a lot easier to do than
I haven't heard that a lot before. How is it easier?
So, a market itself is a lot less fragmented than EU. So basically you only need one language to reach 300 million potential customers. It's really just a few payment methods. It's not like in EU where you have to have cash on delivery somewhere, Klarna somewhere else, something else somewhere else. It's really unified. And that actually enables us to produce high numbers with quite limited amount of resources in terms of manpower, for example.
But how about, everyone in the US lately is complaining about really skyrocketing cost of customer acquisition. How are you guys feeling that as well, or is it still sort of under control for you?
Yeah, naturally. I mean, I've seen this in Europe as well. Whenever I was advertising on Facebook, for example, costs are growing year by year. So it's actually up to the companies to adjust, try to get higher average order value, for example. That helps us a lot in managing whenever we see that CPMs go higher, and then seeing wherever you have some potential or opportunity to cut down the costs. Maybe, if, for example, for us, as a new product, the COGS would be higher. And then as we have a new product order, it may be lower because machines are already made in the factory. So we don't have to pay that again.
So how much does the product cost again? It's super expensive, right?
I wouldn't call it super expensive. I would call it actually cheap for what it does. The basic unit is $199. And with the option of a solar panel as an add-on, it's $269. But the solar panel actually means that you don't almost never need to take it inside to charge.
So we're talking about a sales ticket of roughly $200 to $300. So take us through your marketing strategy. How do you sell a product at this price?
Yeah. So what we try to do is actually diversify our sources of traffic, right? Like you mentioned, it's really dangerous to be dependent on only one channel. So for us, still the main one is Facebook. I see Facebook almost as a kind of a TV in this point of time, right? So that's purely because at one time I was checking how Google is performing, and I saw that whenever we raise budget on Facebook, Google revenue also shoots up. And when we drop budget on Facebook, Google revenue drops down. So I see that it's actually become really interconnected. Everything, all internet channels. So one of the newest channels that we're trying to crack, which we really believe in, is TikTok. We had some huge success last year in this brief period when we had stock. And it started with a viral TikTok, viral organic TikTok,
which you guys made, or
which we made. Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. And when we saw that, we said, okay, let's try it on Sparkats. Okay, Sparkats blew everything out of the gates. The whole account then lifted. You only need one really good ad, and everything lifts. Even some ads that we were testing before started working. Everything seemed to just fall right into place. But the downside is that as soon as we went back to pre-orders, the performance dropped on TikTok, unfortunately.
But then, because I remember earlier when you said, and I'm really happy you mentioned that. So you're seeing that there's a huge impact of Facebook beyond just the click and direct conversion. You're actually seeing the value of Facebook impressions and how they build up brand demand, how they build up Google search. And we've been seeing that across industries during the past few years. So how do you personally measure for that and optimize campaigns when a lot of the results that you're now getting through your Facebook advertising actually aren't recorded by any software, even tools like Triple Whale, Hyros? I mean, they're good, but they still cannot attribute real value to an impression if a click doesn't happen. So how do you optimize for that?
Yeah, you're right. So it's nice that you mentioned Triple Whale. We do use that. It's become one of our main measuring software solutions. And then the second thing is that we don't really look at individual channels and look for them to be profitable. What we look at is actually blended ROAS. So we put all our marketing spend together and all the revenue we get together, and then we see, are we hitting the numbers that we are required to, or we are not.
But how do you then decide how much budget to put in a channel, in a campaign? How do you spread it out in the most efficient way?
So another thing that we use to help us in a way for attribution is we use post-purchase surveys. So we see there, the question that we pose is actually, where did you first hear about BirdBuddy? So like you mentioned before, we need to create the demand, right? It's not something, I don't know, it's not a bicycle that people would be searching for
Yeah.
naturally, right? So you need to put it in front of the eyes of the possible customers. And that is something that you also mentioned. It doesn't necessarily show up in Facebook that happened. And what we do is actually just look at what are the ratios, let's say, between investments in Facebook, investments in Google, investments in TikTok. And I'm always trying to, or our team is always trying to catch this balance between different channels. So let's say Google has higher ROAS. You need a certain ratio, let's say 3-1 towards Facebook, so that it evens out with Facebook's low ROAS.
Great. And then Facebook is still your number one core growth channel that mainly supports the others, and you're adding others side by side.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then when you started out building out this acquisition engine, because we know that usually things aren't perfect from the start. There's a lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, a lot of trying to find the right offer, the right value proposition, the right creative, the right angle. What was your approach in trying to find that ideal mix for BirdBuddy?
Yeah, well, so it's a funny story that the first ad that BirdBuddy ever published was published by our founder, and he's still claiming that he got 10 ROAS on it. So I guess he was the most successful media buyer of us all. So from there it just went down, and yeah, what we're trying to do is really focus a lot on creative. So that's the main thing that's driving Facebook in this point of time, right? So there's not so much technical setup that you can do to gain edge over the competitors. It's all about how you present the product. So in a way, it hasn't been a challenge that much for us because if I go back to your first question, where's the magic? The magic is that our product actually makes content by itself, right? So we get a lot of content, a lot of videos, a lot of images that we can try to use in our advertising, in our organic content. And from that, we see, okay, this stuff works, this stuff doesn't work. Maybe we need to work on that. And it gives us a lot of, different paths toward which we can follow.
So essentially it's your product creating that emotional connection with potential buyers and just showing them, shit, I would really like to have this for myself.
Yeah, you can see, I don't know, a bird from a perspective you've never seen before. So you were never like 5 centimeters away from its face, from its beak actually. And then just to show that to the customers and to see how they would experience it, that really helps.
And then Because I was reverse engineering you guys a bit just to see how everything is working. And the one thing that really impressed me was your online community, which is really growing like crazy. Your Facebook group is exploding. People keep on posting their pictures, talking about the product, talking about the various birds that they're seeing. So I was wondering, what role does the BirdBuddy community play in your whole marketing mix? Is there also a referral component? And how do you really utilize the power of that community to, well, further build brand and build demand and, well, sell more product at lower cost?
Yeah, I mean, we're incredibly proud of our community. It's been beyond our wildest dreams, probably. We've been working really hard on it, and it hasn't always been easy because, some things were really out of our control, like logistic challenges, chip shortages, etc. But now that we have delivered what we promised, they become our most loyal ambassadors, right? So we have a post-purchase survey, and it's like 35% of people say that they bought BirdBuddy because of a referral from friends or family. So that's
Wow,
word of mouth.
35%.
And that was actually without any incentive. So at that time, we weren't offering, there was no referral program, basically. And then another thing that is really helpful for us is we get this immediate feedback on whatever we put out software wise, for example. So, like, first product is never perfect, right? So we put it out and everyone, I don't know if it's the American way of doing things, but they were really happy to share feedback, offer suggestions, telling us where we can improve, how to improve. And that was like really helpful. I mean, you just get the feedback and put it on development roadmap and that's it, So in that way, that's really cool. And then like the third thing that you might have saw in our Facebook group is that there some sort of aftermarket developed on Etsy where people are just 3D printing like accessories for BirdBuddy, and you can get like all sorts of stuff to put on BirdBuddy. Yeah, so it's really amazing. They're helping us actually make a BirdBuddy more attractive product by offering. I don't know. You can add what stayed in my mind was you can kind of place a fence on BirdBuddy, like a miniature wooden fence, so that it keeps the birds in bay. So
And did you guys do anything to get that started, to accelerate it, or did it just happen by itself?
no, yeah, it happened by itself, and when we saw it happening, we were really happy. We even shared. I think we shared. I think it's called CAD file or something like that. Something that you can print by your own. And we're actually encouraging because we think it's really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. I mean, okay, this is what a truly magical product does for you. But then you also mentioned before that you do systematically work on increasing AOVs and average basket values. How do you do that? What are like the best tips that you can give to our listeners out there?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're focused on add-ons. So how can we improve the existing product? One is obviously the solar panel. So, phone is one thing. You always have it with you. You can charge it at any time, but birdhouse is outside. So it's important to keep it up and running as long as possible so you can get the most out of it. So the most amount of content. And Solar Roof does a really good job in that, and it's like a logical add-on. Then we're offering different types of mounts. So either you place it on a pole, on a fence, on a wall, and then we're offering. So the funny thing is that there's a lot more, I think, diversity in US regarding what the birds eat. So we offer a lot of feeding options. For example, some birds like to eat Jello, like marmalade, So we're offering a marmalade tray. We're offering a water fountain from which they can drink.
Is there a
So
subscription baked into that?
no subscription to talk about. And another thing that I wanted to mention, and I think it's more of a story, and you'll find it funny. So we saw that summer is kind of a low season for us. So whole last summer we spent testing what else can we do, bird related. So we tried dry testing a bird watching course. a bird watching app. So we had a lot of fun with that. Unfortunately, it didn't nothing from it
But
worked.
you were dry testing that.
Yeah, exactly. So we made like a whole, I don't know, like a landing page, first few shots of content, advertising, and then we wanted to see, can we do it, or maybe it's too early. Maybe like our brand is not yet so big that it could offer that. Maybe it's still just a one product brand at the moment. So, and then the final thing I think is, yeah, like new product development. I think, we showed with BirdBuddy, with the original BirdBuddy, we can, innovate, and we have to innovate, if we want our company to be what we want it to be. So we're currently fully focused on new product development, for the upcoming Kickstarter.
Nice. So just to summarize, you're saying that's one of the key ingredients of how you build up AOV. It's not just any kind of like really magical techniques. It's really about systematic product development to really build out your product map in a way that you really give customers all the options that they might need to use the product in the best way possible.
Exactly. So like we saw that was like a signal for us, if people are buying on Etsy, like add-ons, accessories, why shouldn't we offer it to people?
Beautiful. And I have to say, I really liked your other story about just dry testing apps, services, and things just to see what could stick in order to further increase the value. That is a beautiful, I'll call that revenue R&D. Great stuff. Uh, okay, but now you mentioned before that you guys are really, often out of stock. And I know that you're dealing mainly with customer acquisition. So, how do you keep on advertising a product that's constantly out of stock? How does it impact your metrics, your performance? How much does it hurt?
I mean, it only hurts because we saw the situation when we have stock, right? So if you wouldn't see that, then it wouldn't hurt as much. Like, yeah, I mean, with regards to stock, it's been a hard couple of years, for hardware products. So, like we mentioned before, chip shortages and logistic challenges, and a lot of it was, out of our hands. So we just had to suck it up, and hope for the best. And then, we were collecting pre-orders basically for 2 years. And during that time, we saw, okay, how our KPIs look, and in times when we don't have stock. So obviously, yeah, you need to adjust. You cannot be so aggressive with growth. You're looking to hit, certain revenue goals, but also certain profit goals, right? Because the company needs to function even during times when you don't have stock and you're not growing like 10x, for example. So that was like the main thing we learned during the 2 years is how to establish some benchmarks and then to react, to this seasonality which we noticed. So we have, I think, around like two peaks, 2.5 peaks. So one peak is early in January, another peak is spring, and then the third peak is Q4. And during those times, it's a lot easier. During summer, we tried R&D.
So then essentially you're constantly conscious of both response to your, let's call it, out of stock advertising, the season, how the KPIs are moving, and constantly shift budgets and adjust budgets based on more or less what's happening both with your product availability and the main season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's brilliant. That's really really cool. Uh, how about just negative press that you get from people seeing the ads, then seeing, oh shit, I can't get this, I need to wait for another 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. How do you guys manage that? I mean, is it bad? Do you need to manage it?
Yeah, I mean, as a company, I think we felt it most, before the first batch of product arrived. So we were pouring our hearts out, in the company for like a year and a half, and then all we saw were these negative comments under Facebook ads. So that was really hard for us. And we tried our best. I think we can be really proud on our customer service department. They're a really cool bunch of people, and they tried their best to communicate what's going on. I think our Facebook group helped a lot. So we tried to be as transparent as possible. We were always posting updates what's going on with the product, what challenges are we facing, how we're trying to beat the challenges, and what are we doing to help to deliver the product as soon as possible. So that was what we did back then. And then after this first batch arrived, is just like I said, yeah, now we have this loyal group of ambassadors who back us up no matter what. So even when some people complain, they're always saying, guys, we got it. Don't worry, it takes time, but it's completely worth it.
Yeah,
Just hold
I
on.
noticed that in the community that almost whenever someone starts complaining, it's like a bunch of attack dogs go after it. Look, it's cool. Be patient. You'll get it. You'll love it. It's going to be amazing. So that's all. Just it's not publicity. It's just customers fighting for you because they love you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. And then you also mentioned the role of customer support. So then I would guess that customer support for a business like this is really mission critical to just keep control of things, not let them run, not let everything go to hell when you're out of stock, when there's issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely crucial. So, there's been so much one-on-one communication, I think, between them. I probably each one of them reached like a couple of thousand of our customers. It's up to them, and in the way they do it is really cool. That they make every customer feel valued. And yeah, I mean, naturally there will be some percentage of people who just don't want to wait. For us, it's no problem. We offer a full refund if you decide it's just too long of a wait. So
Then I guess outsourcing customer support is not something that you would do.
no, I don't think we're even considering it.
Okay. All right. Now, enough about acquisition. So I get a feeling that whenever you guys have product, it sells through the roof. Profitability is amazing, but at a certain point in time, I guess you'll also start reaching declining or increasing cost of customer acquisition. So declining CPOs, profitability and acquisition will start going down a bit. Is there a retention play in plan that when acquisition starts becoming less profitable, how do you then just keep being profitable for the long term? How do you keep on growing without needing to raise 100 million in VC cash?
Yeah, we do think that's going to happen. So I think you probably see us as a one-off product, right? So you buy BirdBuddy and then you're never coming back again. And yeah, we do realize it looks like that. So like I mentioned before, it's up to us to innovate, to expand what we offer. We think there's a lot of potential there that can be acted upon. So that's our main priority, actually, to have some wider product offering, because we see that these loyal customers that we mentioned are actually eager to invest even more of themselves into our brand. So that's kind of the natural path for us. And then there might be some plans with regards to software, but those I'm not really familiar with, so I can't.
Yes, Peter, this is really great stuff. You don't often meet companies where product R&D or product development is such an integral part of both customer retention, building up AOVs and stuff like that. So it's really amazing to see and to hear how you guys are really building that up strategically with a sort of long-term vision of how to evolve the business. Tim, is that coming from just like mainly the founders, or is it already part of the culture of the whole company, just to keep on developing better products to really assure for long-term growth and profitability?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been passed down to us from our founders. So, like the two founders, or actually three founders, thought of the product themselves. So I think we're a really product-led company. I don't know if that's actually a term, but at least that's how I feel. So we're not really marketing-led company, but it's, everything is focused on the product. Let's make it the best we can. And that actually is going to help us even long term. So, Apple is the leader in the category because it's the best, at least for the majority of people. So that's how we want to be, right? So like having no competition because we're just the best there is.
Beautiful, beautiful. And the role of customers in that. So you already mentioned that people are now starting to do their own 3D printed versions of that. Are also customers coming to you with things like you need to add that to the product. You need to add that add-on. You need to build that. You need to build a subscription service for whatever. Is that also coming from customers anyway?
Yeah. So I'm not really directly involved in this customer feedback and with product feedback. But whenever we talk, there's a lot of suggestions from customers. So there's a bunch of ideas that people have. They're willing to share it with us. They're willing to contribute to the company because I think they feel like they helped build it, right? So it's natural they kind of help it maintain and progress as well. So we get a lot of different ideas from the customers. We get some ideas from our own research. So I don't know if you knew, but we have professional ornithologist who is employed by us. So he's like a source of knowledge for the whole company. And he has great ideas. There's not just the birds who feed on bird feeders. There might be, I don't know, hummingbirds, which require a different type of feeder. There might be a need for something else. And then it all comes like in one whole.
Nice. Really, really, really cool. Okay, then up to my last series of questions. Sorry, down to my last series of questions. So, an Amazon search for BirdBuddy does sort of show that you guys have become super heavily copied. Is there a special way that you're dealing with the copycats? Are you seeing that it's impacting your performance in any way? Because I could even imagine when you're advertising BirdBuddy, you don't have product on stock, so you're collecting pre-orders. People go on Amazon, they search for BirdBuddy, then they see a bunch of different knockoffs that you might actually be driving the whole category up, and the others might be profiting from your demand generation investments.
Yeah. We had a discussion about this, and we saw that there are actually just two courses of action. So either you spend your resources on fighting these people, so I don't know, reporting the scammers, suing for trademark infringement, patent infringements, and whatnot, or you can focus on your own shit, if I can say that. So focus on your product, make it uncopyable. I think that's what we're doing. We are proud to have all AI developed in-house. It's something that's really, really hard to copy. It's really, really hard to make as well. So we try to surround ourselves with moats so that nobody can come to us. Another big thing is our community, right? So not a lot of companies, I think, have a community like we do. It's also another thing that it's really difficult to copy. You can't just make a Facebook group and I don't know, invite a bunch of friends in and it's a community, right? So we're doing that. I mean, the thing that pains us the most and where we try to act is when we see, just pure out scammers, right? So we saw that there are people just stealing our ads and, putting on ads on Facebook, like selling BirdBuddy for $39. So those we really try to report because it throws a bad light on us, but also we care about customers. So obviously customers wanted to buy our product, but just had a bad luck of seeing that ad. So I think it's like our kind of duty to report this and try to make it right. So
okay, you have a magical product. You're now hopefully getting ready to have a lot of stock. Will you then just keep this to direct to consumer, or are you then also planning to expand to Amazon, other marketplaces, maybe offline retail, and so on?
yeah, I mean, our own D2C is our priority. We definitely think that like Amazon has a huge potential. It's like 45% of e-commerce sales in US, right? It was unfortunate that we couldn't use it because we don't have stock. We would like to, but we just couldn't. And it's definitely in our plans for the future, and we're confident in it. We're confident we want to go there. We want to do that. We did some analysis which showed that search for BirdBuddy brand is really high. So I think we can position ourselves as even the leader in this bird feeder category, and then reach people we can't reach with TikTok and Facebook ads and our own D2C channels. So that's definitely a big big priority for even 2023. And then, yeah, it's another story which is not exactly a distribution channel. So we've been to CES, which is a consumer electronics show in Vegas, for 2 years in a row now. And that actually helps to drive our sales up. That's like the mini peak I was telling you about in January. And all sorts of good things come out of it. So it might be that we would be in a major US retailer as well. So that's still in wraps, and I don't want to comment too much.
Nice. Okay, Peter, this was really amazing, great stuff. Now, before we drop off, just any last words of advice for our listeners? Any cool insights? Anything you'd like to share on top?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really repeating myself, but if anyone is thinking about creating their own company, building it, I think it really pays off to focus on, making the best product you can, and then focus on your customers, because that really, really pays off in the long term.
Well, Peter, you might be repeating yourself on this one, but I think it's something that's worth repeating dozens and dozens of times over, because I think that is the only way that direct to consumer branded e-commerce can actually even survive and grow, and not everyone just selling the same type of shit to everyone else at a lower price. So beautiful stuff. Congratulations on your really amazing successes, and thank you for the time and really for the great insights. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for the invite, Rock.
And because you want more strategic e-commerce growth insights, conversations, and training, visit notablur.com.